What if the Earth were flat? This question comes from every corner of the internet, shouted in comment sections and whispered in late-night conversations. What if the Earth were flat? Not metaphorically, not poetically, literally, a big cosmic pancake floating in space. Let's set aside what we know about physics, astronomy, and, well, common sense. Let's assume that somehow, by miracle or alternate universe, the Earth is flat. Maybe it's a giant disk suspended in space. Maybe it floats on a sea of stars or rests on the back of a colossal turtle. Regardless, it has edges, it has a center, and it has rules completely different from the world we know. The first thing to break would be gravity, or at least how we understand it. On our round Earth, gravity pulls everything toward the center of mass, the core. That's why people in Australia don't fall off the bottom of the planet, and why oceans stay where they are. But on a flat Earth, gravity would have to pull down in a straight line toward the center of the disk. The further you walk toward the edge, the more gravity would skew, pulling you at a diagonal. Eventually, walking would feel like hiking uphill, and objects would slide inward toward the middle like sprinkles on a tilted cake. Water would be even stranger. Instead of spreading out smoothly in curved basins, it would pool heavily at the center of the disk and grow shallower toward the edges. Rivers would flow inward. Coastal cities would be dry, desert-like plateaus, while the center, maybe where our version of the North Pole sits, would be a deep, dense ocean. Ships would not sail off the edge, yet, because they wouldn't be able to get there in the first place. Currents would forever pull them back. And let's talk about the sun. On a round Earth, it rises and sets because of the planet's rotation. But on a flat Earth, there is no around to spin. So how does the sun move? Flat Earth logic says it circles above the disk like a spotlight, shining down in a cone-shaped beam that only illuminates part of the surface at a time. That means the sun would never truly set. It would just drift away, like a glowing drone fading into the distance. You wouldn't get proper sunsets, just slow dimming, like someone lowering a cosmic dimmer switch, and forget about consistent day lengths or seasons. With no tilt and no orbital variation, the concept of summer and winter becomes as flat as the planet itself. Night sky, totally different. On round Earth, stars change as you move south or north. But on a flat Earth, everyone would see the same sky at all times, just from different angles. The moon would have to mimic the sun's odd circular motion, but even weirder, you'd always see the same side of the moon, with no lunar phases unless someone hangs a lampshade over it at different angles. But let's take it further. What about the edge? Most flat Earth theories imagine a giant wall of ice surrounding the disk, an Antarctic ring, holding everything in like a planetary salad bowl. You can't climb over it. You can't fly past it. It's the edge of the known world. Maybe beyond the wall is a void, maybe more land, maybe the programming error of a simulation. Who knows? But you can bet there would be expeditions, dozens of them, funded by billionaires, thrill seekers, and conspiracy theorists. Journey to the Edge would be a streaming series. Entire nations would invest in reaching or guarding the perimeter. Maybe there'd be a treaty. No sled dogs beyond this point. Air travel would be confusing. Flight paths wouldn't curve but zigzag awkwardly. A trip from Chile to Australia would take twice as long and might pass over Siberia. GPS would work differently, or maybe not at all. Satellites couldn't orbit a disk, so we'd either have none or they'd fly in loops above the surface like glowing dragonflies. But here's the biggest twist. If the Earth were flat, our entire scientific understanding would collapse. The laws of gravity, planetary motion, optics, and even time itself would need rewriting. Space exploration? Impossible. You can't launch into orbit if there is no orbit. The moon landings wouldn't just be fake, they'd be impossible in principle. Astronomy becomes mythology. Cosmology becomes guesswork. And yet, if humanity lived on a flat Earth for long enough, We would build an entire civilization based on that logic. Our textbooks would teach flat geometry physics. Our schools would model weather systems with spotlights and paper discs. Our calendars would sync with a circling sun instead of Earth's rotation. Engineers would design buildings that lean slightly inward to compensate for the strange directional pull of gravity. Culture would adapt. Science fiction would speculate about a mythical, round Earth, just as we imagine ring worlds and Dyson spheres. Would we thrive? Possibly. Would we reach the stars? Probably not, but we'd find meaning in our limited sky, and we'd build legends about what lies beyond the wall. Maybe one day a brave crew would set out on foot, dragging a sled toward the edge. Not to prove anything, just to see.